Hi, so excited to share with you today 5 yoga poses to improve your downward dog. So this is a practical class where you'll be guided through 5 different yoga poses, working on different techniques and actions that will be helpful for the downward dog pose. I'm Irene, a yoga and mindfulness teacher. If you'd like to see more yoga and mindfulness videos, do subscribe to our Antara Yoga channel or give this video a nice thumbs up. So to begin with, you can come towards your hands and knees. And if the knees are a little sensitive, do feel free to place some sort of blanket or towel under the knees. And from the hands and knees, we're going to first come to a child's pose. So knees are going to come a little bit wider than your hips. Big toes can be coming towards each other, and then you're just sinking the weight of the hips down and reaching the arms out in front. Head can be nice and heavy on the mat if that feels comfortable. And if it doesn't feel so comfortable drawing the weight right back to the hips, you could have the hips a little lifted and the weight a little forward. But over time, you're trying to allow the weight of the hips to sink and at the same time lengthen through your spine. Seeing if you can find now a nice steady breath in and out through your nose. Maybe walking the hands a little forward on your inhale. And sinking your hips down on the exhale. Particularly paying attention here to the shape of the spine, so the length of the spine and the length of the arms. So this will be particularly helpful for when we're going into that downward dog. And if you're in this child's pose with the elbows lifted rather than on the ground, that will really give you the chance here to also press the palms down, spread through the fingers, and activate a little through your arms. So again, quite similar actions to what we'll be using in the downward dog. Staying here 2 more breaths. See if you can really find that space through the front of the shoulders. And then slowly coming out of the pose so you can walk the hands towards you and coming back to your hands and knees. So next pose we'll be working on is the cat and cow. Particularly here, paying attention to the palms of the hands. So hands want to be on the ground, fingers spreading wide, and there's that real heaviness through the fingertips. And this will be, again, really important to find also in that downward dog. So we'll start to do a few arches of the spine. So you can arch the spine on the inhale, lifting the chest a little forward. And then on the exhale, rounding through the spine and dropping the head down. Inhaling as you arch, still keeping hands nice and heavy. And exhale as you round, head drops down. Inhaling and exhale. And just doing this a few more times. So finding that mobility through the shoulders, through the spine. And even as you're arching, see if you can keep that little bit of firmness in the belly. And then particularly as you round, you can also find that kind of drawing in and up sensation of the belly. So this also will be something we'll want to work on in that downward dog. And do one more round at your own tempo. And then from here you can come back to a neutral position. So the third posture I'd like to work on is the plank pose. So we're keeping that sort of heaviness through the arms. Again, like I said, that heaviness through the palms. And from here you can tuck one toe back, tuck the other toe. And rather than sort of allowing the gravity to allow you to sink down here, see if you can lift up a little out through the shoulders and activate the legs, drawing the heels a little back. So legs are long and active. Again, you'll find that firmness here through the belly. And if it feels too much, just holding that plank, you could be kind of alternating. So dropping knees down and then lifting back to the plank. And this is a really nice way to start to slowly build up that strength and stability in the pose. Hopefully you're feeling also heat in the body right now. Staying perhaps in that plank for one more breath. And then from here you can slowly drop the knees down. And from the knees we're going to come all the way up to standing. So we're going to do a standing forward bend. Feet can be about hip distance apart, so targeting a little bit more the back of the legs now. You can first have the hands on the hips. Slowly start to fold a little forward. And then you can be bending the legs a little, rounding through the spine and letting the head be nice and heavy. So you could hold somewhere on the back of the legs or ankles. Feels pretty nice for the shoulders here. Relaxing the head down. Or if it felt more comfortable, you could hold the elbows and maybe sway a little from side to side. Now the key thing here in the hamstrings, and this will be the same in the downward dog, it's really allowing, if you need, the knees to bend and be heavy. So bending through the knees can be pretty helpful to release some of that tension from the back of the hamstrings, preventing also any injuries. And over time, you can kind of be working on maybe bending one leg, lengthening the opposite, doing this a few times, and gradually kind of creating more space here in your forward fold. And if you feel any tension in the lower back, just feel free to bend the knees a little deeper so that the belly can rest right on your thighs. Staying here one more breath, really relaxing through the head and through the neck. And then we're going to slowly from here come towards our hands and knees. So you can just drop the hands down, transition back down to your hands and knees. So the fifth and final posture to be working on downward dog, of course, is doing downward dog itself. So as good as the preparation poses are, nothing really beats practicing the pose itself to work on the technique. But really keeping, of course, in the back of the mind the technique in the other poses. So we'll start again on the hands and knees. You can spread the fingers wide, ground through the palms, tucking through the toes and drawing the weight back towards your heels. Similar to that child's pose, but the difference here is the toes are tucked. We press into the hands and see if you can first start to lift the knees a little, engage through the belly, and then you're slowly lifting the hips up and back. So you can kind of see it like a forward bend with the legs, but the arms are there in front of you to really activate, lengthen, and support. So the priority in the technique of downward dog is to keep the spine long. So doing your best to lift the hips up, and again, you can keep that bend through the knees. You can keep also the heels a little lifted here, And see if you can lengthen through the spine and engage through the belly. Noticing if your feet are slightly closer together or further apart, and see if you can bring them right under the hips. Another thing you might want to notice is, are the hands pretty close to the feet, particularly if you've got long legs or long arms. Allow the arms to walk a little further away. And then if you need, you can always slightly bend the knees a little more as you press the weight back. Another thing, we're not doing plank, so you don't want the weight too much in the arms. You want to be pressing the weight back out of the arms and towards the legs. If you're feeling too much stretch in the hamstrings, feel free to lift the heels a little more or bend the knees a little more. As you stay here, one more breath. And then slowly on the exhale, you can lower back down through the hands and knees, and then just come to rest in child's pose. So I hope these 5 yoga poses will help improve your downward dog and understanding of the technique and actions required for the pose. Just a note that downward dog is quite challenging. It requires, as you've sort of seen, the whole body. And that means, just really give it time to integrate and for the body to open up and strengthen to really start to get the most out of the pose. Let me know in the comments how you get on, and I'll see you in the next one.